What is up guys, Wraec here with a new video, and today we're going to talk about the 10th anniversary of Idle Heroes. There's finally some more info out there. DH has started the promotion for the 10th anniversary. They already put out 2 codes for it that we are going to cover in this video. I reckon there will be 10 codes, same as last time, probably some more during the anniversary itself. We're going to talk about the rewards, we're going to go into some specifics, we're going to talk about the 9th anniversary rewards and what we can expect for the 10th anniversary, because there are some things that I personally definitely see during this anniversary as well, and I can prove it, so we're going to check it out. Starting off, the age hit us with this picture yesterday. 10 years Idle Heroes forever. June is passion, heat and full bloom. 10 years are companionship, devotion and eternity. Sounds a little bit AI, but this is fine. We can live with it. In the end, it comes down to what the rewards are. And we have this park over here, and as we're going to see in the second picture, every single day, basically one of those attractions is added. In the second picture, this one is unlocked as well. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And somewhere I reckon a 10th, I don't really know, we're going to see. Now we got the first code there already, IHLucky10. I think you can use those codes throughout the anniversary, but I reckon it's better to use them right now. So I'll put them down in the description for you so you can easily copy and paste them in-game, of course. And this is 10 cores and 10 treasure tickets already, which is fairly good loot for DH games. And we already see the June event preview down below, which is really, really nice because we got the new Transcendence hero here. Base form is, of course, Umbreon right here. Didn't change the view for that one, but we see him right there. Umbreon, of course, going to be the Transcendence version that we see here. Transcendence Umbreon. I have some high hopes for this guy, honestly. I think he's going to be cool. And the thing that I mostly hope is that we're going to get to use the SSS core for this guy. But I can't really promote it. I want to say like, oh, we're going to do the anniversary live stream, which we are going to do. Anniversary live stream is going to happen. But I, of course, can't tell you whether or not we're going to see the, if we are going to use it on this hero, because we have to test it. Of course, we have to kind of check out what is going to happen. New artifact is announced here as well, which interestingly enough happened during the last anniversary too. We also got our last artifact there. Kind of interesting historically, new artifacts were released on Black Friday. Black Friday was the event where you could get the new artifact, and this was something that I remember because I used to play free-to-play, and I was saving up for my first new artifact where I got my pay-to-win artifact, because those were in the past the power creep. Power creep was from those pay-to-win artifacts, which you are now considering the normal artifacts that just come from the mysterious artifact chest. But actually, fun fact, when I was done saving for that, which took like 4 months or something, the artifact that I got was the KOG. So yeah, that wasn't worth it, let me tell you that. We get a skin, presumably for the Transcendence hero as well, and they say new treasure. I assume it will be a treasure train series that is going to be released there, and of course the date is also already there, so it will be in 10 days. Stay tuned, Pinnacle Gauntlet, gameplay expansions and function updates, and I kind of want to hop from this picture directly into one from the last anniversary. And that is this one. That is actually the preview for June of last year. So this is the preview we got for the last anniversary. And last anniversary, you can see the hero was, of course, Vespera, and the normal version and the Transcendence version were released together for this hero. It was the 9th anniversary celebration. We also got a new artifact, Sword Edge Arena main city screen update, which one thing that I was kind of thinking, they also have to do a new lock-in screen. They used to do this more regularly, but we are stuck now with this lock-in screen since the 9th anniversary. I don't even see it really anymore when I log in, but if you check it out, it still says 9th anniversary, so they kind of have to release a new one, I guess. Gameplay update and function optimization, and that part is truly interesting. Because I also have a screenshot right here about what this function optimization actually was during the last anniversary, and it was Primal Grimoire. It was the first Grimoire book that we got back then. It doesn't feel that long ago actually that we got this Grimoire book, because it has been like such a substantial power creep, and I think I was mainly surprised that the second Grimoire book stuck with us for so long and that we didn't get the third one for quite a while. And I've always suspected that the third Grimoire book was delayed to kind of be released at the same time with the anniversary. And I've heard rumors from, let's say, some trustworthy sources that this might indeed be a release during the anniversary as well, so that we are going to get the Grimoire Origin chapter. What can we expect for this? Well, yeah, I assume it will kind of work like the last chapter, at least in the aspect of upgrading the main book. As to where we will get a third Grimoire essence, I assume that will be the case, that we will get a third one, and that upgrading the third book will require a combination of the first and the second essence together with another essence. The problem that they always face if they don't introduce another resource at this point is that the whales, of course, had time to save up on these two resources and would basically finish the book day one if it was balanced in a way that would allow other players, of course, to complete it as well, free to play. And as the age doesn't want that, they usually add a third essence that will basically sets back the players to a more even starting stage, where, of course, the whales can then go ahead, spend on the event, get the third essence, and start leveling the book. Stat-wise, we got 90 million max on this one, we got 60 million max on this one, so 120 million, I guess, on the next one, something like that. The requirement for leveling up is, of course, interesting. For the first book, it was just 75 heroes that you had to get. For the second book, you needed heroes with the infusion level 15. I think for the next book it will be heroes with infusion level 40, so with completely maxed max stats on the second book. So if we have something like, let's say, my Star Alchemist Tom's Young, you can see my imprint infusion is max, so now my level here is 14. I assume you will need, again, probably 4 heroes of that to max out the book. So that is something that is probably going to happen there. And the more interesting part, and something that I personally am not too sure about, this is, of course, the Grimoire Origin chapter. We had the Enabling chapter, which gave us enhanced enables. We had the Imprint chapter, which gave us the new giant tree. And it was fairly interesting that they stuck so close to the initial power mechanic and just basically enhanced it in a way that the enables basically stayed the same. They just got some extra features, and the imprints, well, they were certainly changed a bit more, but the core of the imprints is always that they are versatile. They allowed us to switch stats on the hero in a way that we have never seen before, and allowed us to improve a hero either in a more offensive or a more defensive way. And they stuck with that, enhanced this system way more than it was before, and gave us this huge skill tree that you can enhance a hero in any way that you want, either in a more versatile direction, defensive, offensive. So they kind of stuck with the idea of imprints still, even though it looks certainly a bit different. And now we get Origin. And Origin is right now looking like this. What does Origin do? Origin consists of basically two parts. The enhanced abilities for the heroes with the little extras that are very, very interesting for some heroes, like no, not Star Alchemist Tom's Young. I was talking about Star Swordsman Mokman. He was one of the first heroes, I think, to receive it, and had like one of his core mechanics really in there, where you need basically his sublimations for him to do a ton more damage. The Omen of Rift right here enables him to attack 3 heroes at the start with his first active skill instead of just 2, so it enhances his damage by 50%, which is a ton. So for those heroes it was very, very relevant. And then enhanced, of course, the abilities. You had those sublimations here, you had a pretty big stat increase for, well, the time back then, and you had the core of Origin. So I was thinking, will they go with like really all of the parts of it? I would assume we get some sort of boosted abilities, but I can't really imagine them right now enhancing like every single hero and giving detailed skill boosts to every single hero. I can't really see them do that. At the same time, this is the identity of Tree of Origin and would be rather relevant. One thing that I'm hoping for from this book is a boost to cores, because I feel like many cores, especially from the older heroes, have kind of fallen out of favor and feel weak. Even on the newer heroes, a lot of the cores feel weak, and I think it has become less of a focus in many situations of which core you use than it used to be in the past. When they were released, those things were huge, and you were hoping that the heroes would get like some really big ones and were interesting. And right now, I don't really like most cores too much anymore. There are some that are still powerful. I think the TBB one is really nice, but like some of those are just like completely meaningless now and could really use a little bit of a revamp. But then again, at the same time, do you make it, well, detailed again? So you have to enhance, like, give a detailed rework essentially to every single core. Then again, I can't really see them do that either. So I don't really know what they're going to do. I think another skill tree maybe? I would think it's cool, but it gets a little bit much. I reckon a lot of people are not even aware of all the abilities of like the imprint skill tree yet, and then we would have another skill tree. So I don't know. What do you think? Tell me down in the comments below. Then they had the Tome of Destiny with the sigil pages. I don't assume we see any additional feature to that, though I would be hyped for S-tier sigils, maybe with a third set, would be cool. Function updates, we got Chapter 11. Void Campaign chapter, maybe? We didn't get one for quite some time, it would be possible, but I wouldn't be too hyped about it. Optimize bosses, attributes, and Star Expedition. Well, we are kind of now at the X50 boss, which has like, I don't know if you are aware of that. Maybe if your guild hasn't reached it yet. So basically, once the boss reaches X50 level, so the HP bar X50, then it becomes way stronger. So it doesn't change in design or anything. It was just that back then, DH reduced the stats of the Star Expedition boss, made it a little bit easier. And this X50 boss wasn't touched. So this one still has the old stats and is so strong that basically a lot of people struggle to keep certain heroes alive that they use in there. Thus, it is a little bit unpopular. I don't hate it. I can survive there because I have huge sets, obviously, but I know that a lot of people struggle on that in the guilds that reach it. So I don't know if they're going to do something like that, but this was basically what was released back then. I also found the info pics for the 9th anniversary, and I don't really want to go into too much detail on the artifact. I wanted to mention it. We obviously got an artifact. It was the Peacock Feather Cape, the one that gives you dodge. I have no idea what they're going to do for the artifact. No idea. The last two that we received were the Visa card, or it was called MasterCard, I think. Or did it say Visa? There was like one picture where they had really written the name of the company, Visa or Master, I'm not too sure which one it was, on there. And later on they removed that and changed it to, I think now it's Master with an R, with an A at the end. Both of the last two artifacts, the Peacock Feather Cape less so than the MasterCard, were pretty much a failure. Didn't see much use, and I hated that because we see so little artifacts that are introduced to the game that I think the ones that should be introduced, they should matter. And especially for the MasterCard, it was fairly obvious without too much testing really that it wouldn't be very great. The Peacock Feather Cape lost a ton of value as well because dodge just isn't too good, but that will be a separate video. Yeah, so I hope they do a good one. They had some additional events that I didn't see too many people talk about. They had this top-up, I assume it was supposed to be called Fiesta. You got 10% extra event coupons during this event. And if I remember it correctly, there were even some creator codes. So I don't know if those creators got a little bit of a percentage. I always hope for that, by the way. That they just add a little bit of a UI. You can type in the creator code and then the creator gets a little bit of a percentage. Doesn't have to be real money, but just like as a part, as a little bit of a percentage that they get in form of Exola coupons to their own account. So you support your creator and you enable them to do a few more videos. I thought this would be a cool system. They never introduced something like that, and I assume they never will. But we got 10% extra value, which if you buy your stuff through Exola coupons, you might want to wait till anniversary is actually live. So if they do that, get this extra percentage and can get your event rewards a little bit easier and a little bit cheaper. Anniversary check-in, we got 909 scrolls and of course this exclusive avatar. 909 scrolls, I think there were some additional rewards that pushed it over 1,000. We will see that as just mentioned in an interview that we have later. So you will get a ton of scrolls and probably be able to complete this event fairly easily. 9th anniversary celebration, nothing new there. New heroes, of course, we got Vespera and Stygian Twilight Vespera. Fun fact, Vespera during her release week was completely broken during this weekend and had like some uncapped damage ability that allowed some heroes to do ridiculous damage. And if I remember correctly, this was also like a Star Expedition damage, and I absolutely abused that, and it was quite fun. And then we had anniversary replacement, and people were super hyped for this. Replace Core of Origin heroes, artifacts, and limited skins, and people were asking for this Core of Origin replacement a whole while because they invested into one core, and obviously then a new meta hero arrived, or they just weren't too happy with it, and for free-to-play and a low spender, it takes a bit of time to get like a full core, well, a longer time actually, back then even worse so. And they said, okay, now I have invested in this course, basically use this. I would love to swap that, but this just isn't a feature that is in the game. They introduced that, but if you wanted to swap a noble core, it was so expensive that you basically could only afford it if you maxed that event, which of course the group asking for Core of Origin replacement didn't do. And the group that could replace Core of Origin, well, didn't care for doing it. So that was a huge failure back then. But I hope they bring that back and make it possible that every free-to-play can at least swap one Core of Origin. Or a noble Core of Origin. I mean, you can't regress those, so yeah, it has to be a noble one. I would love to see that. We will have to wait and see what happens. Comeback event, obviously, if you have somebody that wants to play the game again, you can send those, and we can take a look also at the redeem codes that they did back then. So those were all the codes that were basically active back then. Those aren't active anymore. We got like 2,000 diamonds. Copies there, we got cores, we got profit orbs, we got treasure tickets, which were still more valuable back then. You have to imagine like a year ago, before Grimoire, obviously, treasure tickets were on a huge power creep. And we got basically a ton of gems, a ton of rewards, a ton of cores, a ton of everything. And people were very happy about this, and I really like that. Also, the creators got like some codes. We have MKX Jump codes here, we have Akku Demon codes here. Has to be a berry code somewhere. Is there no berry code? Why is there no berry code? I think back then the thing was Barry was supposed to do an anniversary live stream with like big giveaways and stuff. But he fell sick, so at that point he was unable to do it. Which was a little bit sad because I think they planned it in as a big part of the anniversary celebration. We'll do an unofficial anniversary stream. I have, of course, no partner with DH Games in any form whatsoever, but we are going to do a big anniversary stream. You can subscribe to this channel already. We'll do a big Starry Gem giveaway. It will be a nice number, trust me, and it will just be available during that live stream. There will be a second giveaway that you can join at any time, but we will do one that basically will start at some point during the live stream and will end during the live stream as well, and we'll announce the winner during that time. So I don't know the number yet. I don't know how many people will win. But you know our giveaways, they are always nice. So definitely stay tuned for that. Definitely should be there during that live stream. But we'll see more about that. So those were the codes. And I think they are going to upgrade those a little bit more. Because we had the first one. There was some more info down there. But we had this code already. And this is already a very high value code. And of course, they didn't go for like 999 gems this time because it was 9th anniversary. They're going for the 1000 because it's the 10th. And I think with that code starting off, that was the first code they posted. And comparing it to the first code back then, I think we are going to get some decent rewards. Even though those were more gems, they went for 1999. So that was a little bit better. Last part of this one that we maybe want to cover, we talked about basically everything here, Pinnacle Gauntlet, gameplay expansions that are possible. We talked about this and Artifacts Treasure Train. I have no idea what they're going to do for that. And they haven't announced that yet. They've talked about some other stuff. We have another code right here, Idle 10 Party, if you want to have some additional rewards right there, some basic resources, but I think on a new account, pretty much going to be insane to have such a boost. It's going to be really nice, actually. And then we have, of course, Michelle here. In the blink of an eye, have we already gathered the land for 10 years on this very day back then. You and I first set foot on the Idle continent, began our adventure. The road was never easy, but the days we fought side by side are truly unforgettable, considering this was one of the earlier gacha games that we saw. They had some pretty big hype back then, with very little advertisement. If you watch the early advertisement for this game and how it suddenly gained like huge popularity, that is pretty insane. Today they have to spend way more on ads and have to definitely do a whole lot more to stick out, because there's basically a new gacha game every single week, and and for every gacha game that is released to go out of business. So yeah, basically tough competition right there. They also had a little bit of a dev Q&A last time. Can't really go over those. Honestly, for the most part, those Q&As are kind of uninteresting because they always ask the questions that they want to answer themselves. So never really get any tough questions, nor do we have too much of a connection there. But those were Arjun and Tuzi. Those were already in the video back then for, I don't know which anniversary that was. It was actually the 6th anniversary live stream, and there we have them on the left side, Arjun, on the right side, Tuzi. For the new anniversary, we only saw Arjun, so I don't know if Tuzi made it actually back then, because Ajin is actually in the second letter that we got, or in the second picture that they posted here. The next thing is there available, and we have Ajin over here. He now has a G at the end of his name. I don't know why they did this, but he has like a little letter that he wrote to us. So I'm happy to see that he's still at the company, so that is pretty cool. We're going to go over this letter in a second. I want to cover one more thing for the 9th anniversary. And those are the event rewards for basically the event that is surrounded by the anniversary, because obviously we saw all the anniversary rewards, but it comes together with an event. And last time we had this little comic event with the animation that they made, which was pretty cool. It'll still be available as a live stream on my channel if you want to check it out. And then we had a summoning event. This time around, it doesn't necessarily have to be one. It usually is, though. I think some people said that from the timing here, it should be a profit op event. Usually the Transcendence Hero releases are accompanied by heroic scrolls though, and I assume this will be the same. We got Vespera, the base summon. Of course, this time this won't be the case because we had already the opportunity to summon Umbreon, so I reckon it will probably be more like a selectable heroic summon event, something along the lines of that. It was pretty standard. Back then we had Alikita here on the middle slot though, which was pretty cool. So a little bit more high value, we can say. Some more tickets in there. It isn't too different though, so it wasn't like a huge summoning event. Same Palace of Crystal as always. And then we had this event, the Jade Serpent feeding, and this was the huge Heroic Scrolls event. You can see 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 150. So a huge daily lock-in event that was basically finished by you getting another few rewards over here with the avatar. So you got all of those rewards just for logging into the game. They already announced that the anniversary will be a 2-week event, so I reckon it will be part of the rewards for the first week and then a little bit more on the second week. So we'll have to do 2 live streams, which is okay. You can also do 2 giveaways, maybe, if you guys want that. I don't know. And then we had this Legend of the White Snake event, which was kind of like your classic, classic big event, where you had your resources that you got like from spending on a relay and some of the packs, obviously, and then you just spend them on this big event, which was this big animation that we went through. So they put a little bit more effort than usually towards this. You could get the exchange coupons over here, which were used later on for the core exchange, but you needed a ton of them, so it was rather expensive still. Treasures were in here, so this overall was fairly high value compared to the big events that we saw during the recent times. I was complaining about this actually, that usually you were getting like some treasures during those during the completion of the main part of the event, 25 profit off, so like big rewards. And during the last year, DH has slowly faded this out and put the rewards more into the packs or some other parts of the event, rather than putting them in the main part in the big event. And this kind of made me feel like big events are less worth it, which was like a general sentiment that I've also made a video about. The HS kind of fixed it a little bit, but not too much. So I'm pretty eager to see what they're going to do there. I would be very much so disappointed if the big event was just not worth it. I think that would be like pretty critical mistake on them. The anniversary, if I'm not too sure they can go with their shop approach, because like every big event now has this glorious treasury shop, and I think it's just not good enough for an anniversary. So I hope they do something else there, because having this event feel too standard would be so disappointing. Now you got like a ton of resources here. You got like, you can see there are even some special tickets for the 9th anniversary series. Those were fairly standard back then. Those were the treasures that you could get, and we can check them out in game quickly. And I have them right here. Funny enough, dodge offset treasure when during the time they release a dodge artifact, and dodge offset is the main culprit that makes dodge bad right now. Well, it's alongside of passive damage, but they release a huge dodge offset artifact for all Transcendence heroes during the time they want to make a dodge artifact good. I didn't even draw that line back then, that it was like horrible, but it is. It's really bad. And this was the other one, control immunity offset and damage reduction by attack. Obviously, those are all really, really good. Damage reduction by attack, control immunity offset, all Transcendence heroes. General, the buff for all Transcendence heroes are always pretty OP. The 15% dodge offset certainly devalues some heroes. So not bad treasures back then. And I didn't mention it, but of course you needed like the festival treasure coupons to get there, so it wasn't like a normal series. We had this, Paintings in Mist, According Payers, it was like a mini event once again, pretty standard, nothing too fancy over there. And it was Mysterious Sales. It was the Mysterious Sales. I didn't like that back then. I remember that I didn't like that back then. The reason was you had the surprise gift, and that consisted of just Star Soul, DT, and of course Tree of Origin mats, which I thought was like not enough. Especially later on during the year, it became quite obvious that this should just include more stuff. Quite obviously the Primal Grimoire materials. They added those later, but I hope they don't do a shop. But they are so likely to do a shop, I just don't want to see it. Maybe at another part of the event, some random reward stuff. They could get those stones and basically use them up to get one of those rewards. There are some combinations where you could get extra rewards. These stones itself wasn't all too fancy. This is an event that you guys know. This is the event with the random pulls, with the multiplayer. The Zongzi event that they did in the past. So basically, when you do your when you use your stones, you get some form of combination. The combination gives you a drop, and then when the drop gets drawn, you have a chance to get a multiplier of those later on. This event was never worth it, and it got worse with every single time the H repeated it. So I hope they don't do it again right here, because it's just going to get worse. As always, is one guy that spends like 10,000 USD trying to get an A-, where you could just go obviously to SG Hub, get any A- you want for basically 80 bucks. That's 88 USD for like 10,000 starry gems on SG Hub. Link is in the description, obviously. And we're going to do a giveaway there during anniversary as well. So definitely join this Discord server. And if you need some starry gems till then, there you can get the cheapest and best prices, best service there. It's definitely the place that I recommend for you to buy cheap starry gems. This probably won't be worth it if they do it. Anniversary replacement, as I said, we talked about it already. The Core of Origin replacement cost like 1,280 materials. It was possible to do that. The limit to buy it was 1,360. But it was 50 gems per, so it was like 64,000 gems to do one Core of Origin replacement. I'm not too sure it was a noble core even. So that was way beyond what people were willing to pay, and that was worth it. So I think they just have to make this a whole lot cheaper, or give out a lot more of those tokens that you can use for this. Yeah, I don't even know what I did back then. Shiny Memory, event that was way more common back then. Activate Anniversary Hero avatars to claim rewards. So basically, if you have Dusmog and Michelle, you got this reward. And this was like basically for all of those. Those collection events used to be very common back in the day. And they didn't do those for quite a while. You could buy some festival skins. Those aren't really too rare anymore, but it's still a good offer. And then we had the anniversary cards. One for diamonds, which gave you a good amount of CI materials. One for contracts that are starry gems that gave you a good amount of tree mats, and then you had this last one which you could just buy, but it gave you a good amount of general resources. It was a pretty nice event, obviously, and we have plentiful gifts. Standard event, can skip over this if you want to check it out. It's there. Series collection we already checked out. Standard Transcendence Fight event, standard Soul Awakening Gala, and we had the flash exchange with 6 heroes there. And then there was Anniversary Relay Package. You can see you could get the stones in there. You could get some replacement coupons there. So this was basically a fairly standard event overall. Got the Vespera skin also during that time. It was just a big event with like an artifact release during that time, with a ton of accompanying rewards, and with basically the release of Vespera. So that is something we can say. Pretty disappointing artifact. A hero that was, well, disappointing on the first day. On the second day, people noticed she was OP. So they started using her everywhere, and the copy prices went through the roof. And then it took like 2 more days, because then was Monday, and on Monday DH nerfed her because she was just broken because of vulnerability. And then prices on the auction house dropped rapidly. And yeah, she was then kind of mid, but she still has good buffs. I mean, she's used in like most really good teams for a lot of boss modes actually. So not too bad of a hero overall. A little bit disappointing if she was the hero that was released during this anniversary. I probably wouldn't have used my SSS stone on her, which I hate. I hope we can get a hero that I can use my SSS stone on. That would be really great. And we have one more code right here, Heroes 10th for Resonance Suit Selection Chest, pretty high value stuff over there. And we got the letter from Arjun that I quickly want to go over. How lucky we are to have had your company along the way. Even as I write these words, I have to admit that everything still feels a little unreal. Looking back to the night before the game first launched, nervousness and excitement were beyond words. I tossed and turned, feeling anxious and more than anything afraid of all the unknowns that would come after the launch. Now 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye. It is your endless support that has encouraged us to keep moving forward with courage. And I have to say, I personally wasn't there when the game launched. I joined a little bit later, a few years later actually, which is kind of funny, because I joined, I'm with this game now for such a long time. And I can just check in my phone, which I just did. I never delete my screenshots. So my first screenshot of Idle Heroes is from the 12th of June 2020. So 6 years ago, basically. And by that time, the game was already like 4 years old. I didn't even know Arjun was there during the release as well. I don't think that was mentioned later on. So that is very interesting that he stuck with DH Games like for the whole 10 years and basically accompanied Idle Heroes through the entire way. It's pretty cool. Over these 10 years, the journey has not always been smooth. I can attest to that. So many moments keep flashing through my mind like a slideshow. My first appearing on camera to meet everyone. I think we just watched that. Offline meetups never happened during the time that I saw this, at least not in any part of the Western Hemisphere. I don't know if they did something in China, maybe. Launch of the Transcendence version. Yeah, that was like interesting because we got SFX obviously as first Transcendence hero. And I remember that they changed that. They used to be, I think you had to use, what was it? You had to use like 300 cores and then you got an item, and this item basically made your Xia into Transcendence Xia. And then they changed that later on to the Crystal of Transcendence way that we know today. New gameplay, new heroes. Do you still remember fighting side by side in Ace Championship, dealing massive overkill damage in Star Expedition, making the final push for rankings in Trial of Champion, or getting that perfect Soul Awakening in one try? Last thing always only happens to free-to-play players. So kind of same as 103 bands, which is funny. But yeah, we are already in season 68. People kind of forget about that. That is crazy that we are on season 68 of a monthly event. Season 1, Omega Project 1, but I didn't used to be in Omega Project back then. I think during that time I was in no like relevant clan. I was really, I think in season 4 it was. Was it season 4? Yeah. I was in Chronicles during season 4, and I was basically a noob back then. They were kind enough to pick me up basically to go into their clan because I randomly happened to be on the friend list of one of their guys. And he saw that I was making pretty rapid progress. I said, why don't you join us? We have an open slot. I joined, and within the first week, we went into Ace Championship and we had an absolute run because we happened to avoid every single strong other guild, managed to beat all the other guilds that we were faced and made it into the top 4, which was so huge because back then those frames weren't common. We still had the frames that were like didn't have any stats, and if you had a frame, if you even had like a guild that could get this frame, it was already huge, and we got this one. I equipped that thing, and I was asked from people on the server where I got it, and they congratulated me. I think it was like absolutely huge. It was an absolutely great moment that I still remember from Idle Heroes, and that's definitely nice. Yeah, the overkill damage in Star Expedition obviously refers to when you kill the boss, then your damage numbers sometimes explode, and usually those are the screenshots that you see. People don't tend to show the points that they got from their hit, but mostly they show the damage number, which can be inflated, of course, a little bit by killing the boss. But yeah, it's still nice, and it's part of the game. Do you, by the way, remember the Ace skins? That used to be a thing. I can see those were always like part of the season. It used to be the most commonly used hero during that Ace season. They were supposed to get a skin. And then it worked out for like a few seasons, and then, yeah, DH kind of failed to deliver more skins after season 13. And then they got released like 2 more, and I think there was like a 6-month delay or something in there. People appreciated those. People liked them, and that thing. I think they just didn't want to spend the money to make them. No idea. These are beautiful memories that belong only to Islas. All of this comes from the purest love of the game, and for us, the most important thing that has always been to protect that love, to live up to idle heroes and to every single idler. And I have to say, I kind of thought about this for a second. I really like idle heroes. I don't think I say this often enough. I really like idle heroes. It's by far my favorite gacha game, and every single time when I say something negative about them, when I say like, okay, I make a video and I complain about this problem, I only want to make idle heroes better because I really like idle heroes. I like the heroes, I like making teams in idle heroes, I like the community even. I don't even know if you guys are aware of that, but like Idle Heroes has a pretty good community. Not always, yeah, but throughout most of it, there are great people playing Idle Heroes. And I think that is something that really has carried this game for the last 10 years. That is something that is special in Idle Heroes. And I think that is something that the Age really has to be aware of. I think it is so sad that the Age doesn't interact with this community because it's such a great community that I would really love to see them more in the chats. I would love to see them interact a little bit more with the people, give them a little bit more of an info and not like be this ominous instant on the side of the community. Because there is this huge Western community that loves this game as much as I do. And I think they would profit from doing that. Time washes over everything, but passion remains eternal. Idle has taken a share of wrong turns over the past 10 years, but thankfully with you by our side, we found the courage to keep going and face every challenge ahead. And I think people didn't expect that to last that long. I know people told me like 5 years ago that Idle Heroes was close to end of service. I think it was always close to end of service throughout the entire time that I played, though the talk about it has kind of diminished during the last years because I see people also return to the game. I'm sure the player numbers are lower now than 4 or 5 years ago, but I see people return to the game and enjoy it, so I think it's still a good thing after all. For the 10th anniversary, we've prepared the Dreamlike Celebration Amusement Park on the Idle Continent. We just saw that. Anniversary heroes from past years will also appear one after another to send their blessing and rewards. From Michelle and Dasmog of the 1st anniversary to the Vespera of the 9th anniversary, we just saw that. These old friends who once fought beside you will make up the birthday gifts that belong to you. One gift for each year. We will be waiting for you on June 12th. So it will be 9 gifts, not 10 as I thought. 9 gifts, and every single time a little bit of a message there from those heroes. We saw it on the first one here with Michelle and Dasmog, the old anniversary heroes. And then we have, well, not this one, it was actually this one down here, Belrain and Meme. It just sad a little bit, right? All those old heroes. I know Meme still has a ton of fans, but it just can't make those old heroes work anymore. It's partly because of the divine power, but for some heroes also because they just don't get the stats. I don't know if you're even aware of that, but to get the stats from the Grimoire book, you actually have to have access to the mechanic itself. And I give you a quick example there. That's my Heart Watcher. S tier, huge Heart Watcher, pretty good. Has no Soul Power unequipped, doesn't matter for this example. 217 million attack. And Heart Watcher can't get imprints. And of course, our second book in the Grimoire is the imprint book. So if you don't have imprints equipped on a hero, you can't get the stats from the second book. So even a hero that has a way worse awakening, like this G-Star over here with this A- awakening, has way more stats, 348 million. And this is the other part that is keeping those older heroes from participating. The other one is, of course, the Divine Power, because you get those huge boosts for having the Divine Power, obviously, on top of your hero, which we can see right here. That is the Divine Power gap, which gives them a 150% damage boost and an 80% damage resistance. So 15 Divine Power hero would have a 150% damage boost and 80% damage resistance against a normal hero, which of course excludes all the normal heroes from participating, especially in higher Divine Power content. When you look at content that has more than 15 Divine Power, it can go as high, I don't know if we have 20 Divine Power on some. Void Vortex has super high Divine Power, if I remember correctly. Soulless Realms Gate, and that renders those old heroes without Divine Power completely unable to deal any damage. And that's the reason we currently can't use those. I'm twisted in the thought of whether they should get access to this. Not too sure. I don't know. You can tell me your opinion down below. And then for the last part, Finally, may you stay healthy, may everything go smoothly, and may your passion remain. The story of the idle continent continues. For the next 10 years, we still hope to walk this journey with you. And it's kind of funny that they are already planning for the next 10 years when some other gacha games can't plan for the next 10 minutes, because we have seen now gacha games release and shut down within 1 month. So that madness is out there. But for Idle Heroes, I don't think we are close to that. They seem to be on a pretty steady track still, with new features coming, with interesting stuff coming, and I'm still impressed by the releases such as those imprint infusions, for example, that keep me absolutely excited, and that I really like. I really like imprint infusions because it's such a cool feature, and you could experiment with it so much. And they always manage to get me at that point where I then get to experiment a little bit. But I've been yapping enough. We talked about all of those rewards now. 40-minute video. Nobody's going to watch it at this point. I yapped way too much. Crazy. But if you have, leave a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button. Definitely join SG Hub so you don't miss our anniversary giveaway. It's not yet live, but it will be when anniversary starts, so on the 12th. And we are going to do a live stream on day 1 of the anniversary as well. It will be with a huge giveaway. It will be big fun. Till then, I wish you a great day, and we'll see us in the next one.